by age, it's also by experience.
You bet.
And I've got 25 years experience practicing law on the Treasure Coast, and
You bet.
that's at least 10 years longer than any of my opponents. So I believe with that experience comes the wisdom and the temperament that makes me a very good judicial candidate.
Yeah, in the circuit court, you cover all different angles.
That is
family law,
Mhm.
if they put you in the criminal bench and all of that. And it's a very extraordinary event to be a judge. When I walk into the courtroom and I look up there, I want fair, reasonable. And when you walked in this room, the word fair and reasonable walked in with you. I'm just telling you.
Well, I appreciate that. And
Yes.
that is my, I'm firm, fair, and consistent. I'm currently the traffic court hearing officer for the 19th Circuit. And
That's where I've seen you.
And everybody who comes before me, but especially the lawyers and even the general population who comes without lawyers, always say I'm fair.
You are.
Okay.
You're great.
Let me do the stick here. The thing is, I want to ask you some background things.
Sure.
I ask this of everybody. I know I can't get into specifics because judges are held to a higher accountability, as they should be.
Yes.
It even says in the Bible, those who have a higher office will be held to a higher
And
judgment.
the Bible provides for judges, by the way.
Yes,
So
it
it
does.
doesn't say that you can't judge.
Correct.
It actually
Has a
has
whole-
specific provisions in it.
As
So
you judge, so shall you be judged. Okay. So what I want to know is, you've never been a judge before, right? But you've been a lawyer for now 25 years.
that is correct.
Okay.
But I'm a traffic hearing officer right now, and I preside over trials
Okay.
today.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Mhm.
Because, I know certain people in this town. We have a little town here. It's a great little town. It's about village of Vero Beach.
I love Vero Beach.
Thank you. And it's a gift of God to be here. But I've known, like, for instance, I've known somebody who was involved had an addiction, and they went before Judge Cox. I've had two sides. I've had one that, thank God she was severe with me. She saved my life. And I've had two, thank God she had mercy with me and sent me to this place and they've been healed later on in life.
Yes.
And
Well, I don't think mercy is the correct word for that. And I know that. I think you need to provide the appropriate punishment, appropriate penalty under the totality of the circumstances. I don't
Correct.
believe a judge's position is to give mercy. The judge is to apply the law to the
Mhm.
case and to the specific facts of the case. In some circumstances, the penalty may be more severe under those circumstances and less severe in others.
But let me ask you this, though. I get what you're saying. I mean, in other words, you're supposed to execute the law, not make the law. I understand that. But it also says, and you said you're a Christian man, that in the scriptures it says, the letter of the law causeth death, the spirit of the law giveth life. In other words, the Jews went by, and this is not to offend anybody, but God used the Jews, a little small, humble people, to bring about his Messiah. But he said, you're not supposed to leave your house on the Sabbath. Now, he didn't make that up. That's the Jews made it. Later, Jesus would come and say, the Sabbath, man wasn't made for the Sabbath was made for man. But what would they do? They're not allowed to leave their house on the Sabbath. So you know what the Jews would do? They would fill their pockets with pebbles from their ground. And they'd throw a pebble and they'd step on it. So technically, when they walked into town, they hadn't left their land. Now, that's the letter of the law.
Correct.
But the spirit of the law, so we have to be very careful. I mean, there has to be the human element, that there are mitigating circumstances.
And that's all in the penalty phase.
Correct.
The law is the law.
Mhm.
It's read exactly the way it's written. If it needs to be changed because the law wasn't written correctly, that's up to the legislature to
Correct.
do, not for the judges to do. The judges are sworn to uphold the Constitution and,
Well, I'd
and
be
the laws of
scared
the
to
state of
stand in
Florida.
front of you, man.
Well,
I
you
hope it
shouldn't
never
be.
happens.
You shouldn't be. I mean, certainly as a circuit court judge, if I'm fortunate enough to get the position, I don't recommend you show up in front of a circuit court judge. It's probably not going to be a pleasurable experience because one, you're either someone died in your family and you're a probate division.
Yeah.
You're getting a
Divorcing.
divorce. You're going through a divorce. That's not or you've done a major crime, or you're in drug court or vet court or mental health court or something like that. So that the circuit court judges deal with serious issues, and generally the general population probably doesn't want to show up in front of a circuit court judge.
Now, if I bring up Moylan or Villafranco,
Mm-hmm.
you're not really allowed to contest or say anything disparaging, because I mean,
Of course
judges
not.
are held to a higher accountability.
Yeah,
So
but
you-
he wouldn't anyway. Right?
No,
This is a good guy right here.
Yeah, but unlike regular political office, judges are held to a high. Now, for instance, I can ask you this, I think. Maybe I can't.
You can ask
But
me anything.
I can ask you, don't have to
Yeah,
answer.
exactly.
The
Yeah,
lady,
whether-
the Jewish lady recently, Ginsburg, the lady who's the
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court.
Oh
Big
my
mistake.
God.
Saying those things about Trump, I mean, I don't, she shouldn't, that's just wrong.
It's
I
a
mean,
violation of
and I,
judicial canon.
having been with you guys who are running, you gentlemen who are running for, the gentlemen and ladies who run for judicial court, I'm just, can you comment on that or no?
I'm not going to comment on
You know,
that.
No.
Yeah, I'm not
No,
familiar with the specific circumstances, but it wouldn't apply to, I'm not going to discuss what someone else did. Our records are our records. I'll put my record down next to any of my opponents. I've said that all along. I've got 25 years experience. That's more than any of my opponents, and it's substantial experience. It's not everything done today. I started out with the state attorney's office. Bruce Colton gave me the job at that time. Bruce Colton endorses me for this candidacy, but I started out with SunTrust Bank after the state attorney's office. So
What
I
do you mean?
diversified.
What about the SunTrust?
Sun Bank hired me out of the state attorney's office and
To be an attorney?
to be their general counsel. So I
Wow.
handled all their. In fact, the CEO was here on Johns Island, and I had a lot of work up here.
Is he still there?
I don't know if Mr. Ball is still there or not, but I know Mr. O'Keefe was around. as
Okay,
well.
so you're making a good living as an attorney. Okay, I mean, you can afford that truck up there. I'd like to buy that truck from you.
yeah, first class truck,
So I
first
wanna-
class.
I want to ask you this. So why, I understand when my father went to Syracuse Law School, he was already talking about wanting to be a judge.
Mhm.
Why is it? Because it's not necessarily the big money. I mean, you can make a lot more money as an ambulance chaser, right?
I don't know what.
Wow.
I'm not going to comment on ambulance, but let me just say, you can live off a judicial salary. It's not a pittance.
Well, what is it? Couple $100,000?
It's $146,000, and there's pension plan involved in it too, and which is very valuable.
$42.50 every 2 weeks.
But
That's what you get, $4,250 every 2 weeks.
so you can live off that. But the reason I want to be a judge is because the judge is the pinnacle of our profession.
Yeah.
I believe it's the highest
It
of
is.
our
Well, there's
profession.
kind of a good way, when you die and you're there and say, my dad was a judge, you got to say, hey, yeah, he did something right. At least he knew how to get into office.
Well, I think it's my experience that's going to get me in there, because the best judicial candidate is going to be the one that has the most broad experience. And of the 4 candidates, I have the most broad experience.
Well, it's a beautiful thing. You know, it represents the United. I grew up, I was a little boy that sold lemonade at the age of 9 on the 13th Green of Dutchess Golf and Country Club. Made enough money as a 9-year-old to buy my first motion picture camera. And then I shined shoes in the winter, not because I had to. It was a very affluent beginning. My stepfather, who took over after my father died, was vice president of IBM. So we had a lot of dough. But I always had the work ethic. But I'm just a small guy. I don't think I probably could have been a lawyer like my dad. I'm not that smart. Maybe I have gifts in other areas, I hope. But, I'm all about America. And so, it's like, this seat. The seat of judgeship. I mean, you're right. It's the pinnacle of what we've done. When you walk into a courtroom, and I had to go there to testify on behalf of someone's character about a year ago, and it's just all rise. And we're not rising for that individual.
No.
We're rising because this represents
Yeah,
the essence
course.
of the
It's the
United
position.
States of America.
Of course.
Have you seen the movie? This is a little side to give a little careful. I'll ask you in a minute what your favorite movie is, because that gives people insight. When you go out to dinners, it's a good question to ask. But did you see the movie HBO? I do not subscribe to because I don't like a lot of the crap they have on there. But they do fund, with all their billions of dollars they're making, they fund really good movies, like the movie on John Quincy Adams, the second president of the United States of America. And because there was like a six DVDs, it wasn't like a typical movie for 2 hours. You can't really cultivate someone's character in 2 hours. So over these few weeks, Abigail, for instance, they were able to focus on his wife, and we saw that she was an intrinsic part of the foundation of the United States of America. And we also found out that John Quincy Adams was a farmer. And he was going to, most likely, when he signed the Declaration of Independence, that those men would be hung by the scruff of their necks.
Yeah.
And they had a 97% chance that they would lose their farms. And their families would be forever, in trouble. So anyway, they go and they say, when they sign that deck, I'm sitting on my bed at night watching the series, and I got hot tears. streaming down my face.
I'm getting goosebumps as you're talking about it.
I said within 30 days, I'm driving up and I'm flying up. I flew up. I got one of the Rangers. They took me in privately into the very room where that was signed.
I've been there several times.
We were fortunate to take our family up there, and it's a chilling event. As you have the character role players going through town as what's really going on. And and I do study the Constitution and the people around the Constitution. And if you look at, a lot of people don't understand that many of the amendments or the Bill of Rights are contained, not only that they came from the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence is what we told King George why we want to this.
So it was executed so intelligently by, was it Jefferson?
Well, he's the one that wrote it.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, who
He gets the kudos.
he does.
I think there's a lot of money. But
He
isn't
does,
it
but-
amazing? It does seem as though, I know, but they did it under the umbrella of prayer.
Absolutely.
People want to take, it's supposed to keep we're supposed to keep religion keep government out of religion, not religion out of government. And today they want to say, oh, separation of church and state. Well, we wouldn't have this country if it wasn't for the Christian foundations that say everybody has a right. And yet the very ones now are coming against people, want to take away their rights. I get to have my rights, but you don't get to have your rights.
Right, Red, one thing I've seen as I get older, and I noticed, and you're a judge.
I'm not a judge. not a judge,
Hopefully,
right.
hopefully,
From your lips to God's ears.
from my
From
lips to
your
God's
Yes,
ears,
sir.
we have lost respect for the system. We do not respect judges anymore, or the police, or any kind of law. So I think we got to get
Right.
people back to respect.
Right.
I think that's true. Okay, we're going to continue our conversation with Michael. Don't go away.
Oh,
You can stick
wonderful,
around, can't you?
wonderful, absolutely.
He's Mike McNichols, and he is running for Circuit Judge, Circuit 19, Group 6. This is the mayor of the Airways. Today's broadcast brought to you by Route 60 Hyundai.
I think
It was a
that's,
pleasure to meet you, really.
Okay.
I enjoyed this.
Oh,
I'm
you-
happy. I'm so happy I
Yeah.
can be here
I hope you can stay
because this
for a
was
while.
last minute.
Yeah.
And I'm running now. I do have to be in that county commission meeting at
At what
11
time?
o'clock.
Oh,
11
that's
o'clock.
okay. You're okay. Where?
Down in Martin County. So
Martin, how long is that
You got
going to
an
take you?
hour.
it'll take, I got about 20 minutes
Okay.
left here.
Can I, during this break, we're in the news, I want to have a little private, either you guys go into the
Can I
kitchen.
get a drink of water?
Yes, here's a
well, hit the
this-
bottle right here.
I don't think I opened this bottle.
No, you didn't know.
Okay, here, you
I
can have
brought
that.
my extra one.
Okay.
Well,
I'll
thank
make
you.
sure.
Thank you.
Now, could you guys exit?
Yes,
I'm going to talk to
yes.
the judge. Or,
Go right ahead.
Not judge yet. Judicial candidate.
The,
okay. I get
I
And
tell you
let me
what,
get your name again.
I'm Stephen Froman.
Steve Froman. Why do I know you?
Man,
I know
I
know you.
I was standing about here and you were there, in Port St. Lucie,
Okay.
right?
Right.
St. Lucie West.
Yes.
You were sitting up there and the pilot that had ogled my client, he wasn't showing up because he'd ogled the wrong guy, but I didn't want to say anything.
Right.
All the, you don't know this, but a lot of the guys, a lot of the troopers and everything, are not only my friends, but probably my clients or my brother's patients.
They're all good guys. I'm endorsed by all these.
I'm just telling you. So I know all these guys. So they were, and they said, don't worry.
Remember, we are on YouTube, whatever you say in this room.
Okay. Well, I didn't realize that. But
Yeah, but we haven't said anything.
No.
But
Let's pull down the YouTube. Let's kill the YouTube, right? And I don't want anything that was said today to go up.
Right.